I rarely buy myself flowers, but the other day I picked this bouquet up because I had to do something to tend to my broken heart. As I was arranging them, I thought back to the Heidelberg Catechism, which was written in 1563 as a way to teach the faith, and it begins with a reminder that in life and in death, we belong to God. I always found that comforting, but I didn't realize just how comforting it would be. The other night, I checked on my chickens, and I stopped for a moment to listen to them coo. And before I shut the door securely, I said, "I love you" to each one of the girls. The next day, I let them enjoy their time running around the grass because I knew the snow was going to come. But unfortunately, there was danger in the area, and I lost Omelet and Priscilla. In life and in death, we belong to God. I know some people would say they're just chickens, but they followed us everywhere and they became part of Old Stonewell Farm. And so in my grief, I turned to an 18th century recipe known as funeral cookies, or as the early Dutch settlers called them, death cookies. Very easy to make, only 3 ingredients. And they were served at funerals. In fact, one account says that there was a gentleman holding a cup of spiced wine and a lady holding a tray of these cookies. And as the faithful left the church, they would take the cookies and they would dip it into the spiced wine, almost like communion. Some accounts had these cookies as large as a saucer. And so I whipped up a batch to go through the process of grieving, because we all need to step back and do so. I know that fox and chicken don't play nicely together, and I know that free-ranging our chickens, we were taking a risk that they would fall victim to a predator. While I know that they're just chickens, they found a special place in my heart. So when I was researching how did early Americans grieve and mourn, and I came across that recipe for funeral cookies, I realized that I don't think that they would be mourning the loss of a chicken. I'm sure they would be sad. I'm sure that they would be mourning the loss of having eggs and having meat. I've learned some lessons from this recent loss. And the chickens, they did teach me a lot. I got the chickens 2 years ago at a time in my life when I was just finding it hard to get my day going. And I didn't like that feeling at all. Because when I got the chickens, it gave me a purpose. It gave me something to wake up for because I had to take care of them. I had to get them out of their coop. I had to feed them. I had to give them fresh water. The girls gave me, I know it sounds really maybe too heavy, but the girls actually gave me a purpose. And it reminded me that whenever we are stuck in a rut, whenever we are being consumed by our own internal fears, whenever we find ourselves in that place where we are finding it hard to get our day going, it is so easy to keep slipping deeper and deeper into that darkness. It's very true that if you really want to emerge out of that darkness, the best thing that you can do is step out of yourself and care for another. So every morning I would get up, and before I took care of any of my own needs, I would take care of the girls. The other thing they taught me is how to sing songs of praise and how to really be grateful for the things that you can do. And when the chickens first started to lay eggs, I noticed that there was a pattern that around every mid-morning, I would hear a great commotion outside. And I would always wonder, well, what's going on? So for about 2 weeks, I paid attention to when they would start making a ruckus. And I began to notice that all that commotion was linked to an egg being in the nesting box. So I did some research and I discovered that hens will indeed sing a song after they have laid an egg. It reminded me that I needed to sing songs of praises every day. And I'm not talking about tooting our own horns, like, look at me, look what I can do, but being grateful for the talent that you have. And if you are adding something good to this world, well, basically, don't hide your light under a bushel. But perhaps the greatest lesson I learned happened in their death. That morning, I was going to take cranberries that were still in the refrigerator, left over from the Christmas holiday, and I just wasn't motivated to make a cranberry bread or make some cranberry sauce. And I know that the chickens love cranberries. So that morning I was going to cut up the cranberries and put it in some hot mash for them. But after I fed them and let them out, I didn't get around to making them their special cranberry treat. I got caught up with other things. And then the fox came and I lost Omelet and Priscilla. I looked at the cranberries that were on my counter and I just felt very sad that I didn't get around to giving them that treat that I wanted to. In a way, it was as if I didn't get to say that one more "I love you." If you ask many people who have regrets in their lives what those regrets are, many times they will share that they regretted never saying that one more "I love you" to somebody. One more "I love you." That's what I saw as I looked at the bowl of cranberries. I know that it is life on a farm. I know that that thin line between life and death, we're always facing it. We see it more up close. It's not sanitized as it might be in the city or in a suburb, but in a rural area, you're always facing the dangers of a predator coming to get your animals. And I know all that. And I know that those in the 18th century would not be making funeral cookies for their chickens. Knowing all that is one thing, but you can't ignore the grief that's in your heart. People might say it's just a chicken. People might say to you whatever it is that you are grieving or mourning that doesn't seem significant to the world. Get over it, or what is your problem? But I want to tell you to honor whatever grief you might be carrying this day. No matter how trivial it might seem to somebody else, it's your grief. It's how you feel. It's your heart that is broken. Take time to care for yourself, like buying flowers or cooking and baking. Acknowledge that you have that pain. Don't just brush it away, but sit with it. Hand it over to God in prayer. Because God is a God who cares about everything that we care about. God knows when a little sparrow, falls to the ground. And so if God knows about that little sparrow, he knows all about the little hurts and the big hurts. Honor your grief. Name the pain. Name the loss. And then be gentle with yourself. As many of you know, I shared with you that during the Christmas season, I could not find my baby Jesus anywhere that belonged to my little nativity scene. I had Mary, I had Joseph, I had the wise men, but I couldn't find the baby. And a few days after I lost Omelet and Priscilla, I was cleaning out the pantry, getting ready to bake those cookies. And lo and behold, in the corner of the pantry was the little Jesus figurine. I don't know what he was doing in that pantry. For the life of me, I don't know why he was there. It was just amazing, all these weeks of not finding Jesus. And then without even looking, in the midst of my grief and my heavy heart, there was Jesus. And I took the figurine out and I held it and I just I just looked up and I smiled and I said, God, you really are good. Because at that moment, it was just a comfort, a reminder that Jesus is with me. I will always hold on to that memory and hold on tight that no matter what, yes, Emmanuel, God with us. So I did find baby Jesus. And so, my friends, I offer you lessons that I learned from my chickens, that when you get caught up in your own stuff, step away from yourself and your problems and help another. It will make the world of difference in your life. Second lesson is don't hide your light under a bushel. If you've done something great, if you have something great to offer the world, sing a song of praise, make a commotion like the chickens did every time they laid an egg. Share it with the world, the great things that you can do through God. And the hardest lesson that I think I need to be reminded of often, unfortunately, don't delay in showing love to somebody. If you have the opportunity for that one more I love you, take it, because we never know if we would ever have that chance again. I'm thankful for the lessons that Omelet and Priscilla have taught me. I now have to check on the other two chickens who are not happy because they have been in their coop since the fox has arrived. They have not been allowed to free range, but I do have a treat of cranberries to share with them. Thank you for coming to Old Stonewall Farm. It is truly a gift to have you here with me. And if you enjoyed our time together, like, comment, subscribe, pass it along to others, because there's always room at the old farm table. Until next time, God bless.